What's up, guys? Today we're going to review one of the duels of the Playground Cube. If this is the first time seeing our cube, there's a couple things unique about it. First is that you're dealt a random deck of 40 cards, and also there's a shared extra deck. So at the whole time, you're trying to manage your resources as it relates to these shared extra deck cards, and also you don't really have that much control over what winds up in your deck. The cube is completely balanced from a power perspective, so one player is not going to wind up with a totally broken set of cards over the other. And yeah, let's just dive into it all. I'll add some more commentary as it is. So each player gets 4 tuners in their deck, as you could see. Ryan on the right has Fabled Cerberus. Tuner access is really important because it's one of the only ways to get into the synchro monsters, obviously. The other unique thing is there's really no searching in the cube at all. So Crystal Seer, you see, is one of the few ways where you can actually kind of look into your deck and float. But there's definitely a lot of floaters, and generally defense is stronger than offense. So you really want to be careful around when you extend. In this case, Possessed Dark Soul is a great second normal summon here. He attacks into Shield Wing, which normally would be able to let me stall out, but in this case is able to just steal my monster as a way to remove it from the field, and then go into a synchro monster. Now, he goes into Old Entity Hastor. I'm not really sure if that's the right card in this case. It's basically a vanilla monster. Technically, it can float if it gets destroyed, but at the moment, there's nothing that it can really steal. So I'm not really sure if it's going to be able to convert into something, but let's see what happens. Yep, okay, and he attacks into Night Assailant. Night Assailant will just kill Old Entity Hastor. If Ryan had gone for Underworld Fighter Balmung, that would have been able to revive Possessed Dark Soul or something else at that moment, so maybe that would have been better. But there I go, I just go ahead and make a T-set. My opponent passes, and I flip up Deslakuta. Deslakuta can definitely be a big threat, so that's definitely something that Ryan's going to want to clear off the field sooner rather than later. Now I summon my own tuner, Magna Drago, and what am I going to do? Am I going to attack, or is Ryan going to respond? All right, so I attack with Magna Drago, and Ryan plays Counter Gate. Let's see, with the direct attack, he can draw a card, and if it's a monster, special summon it. Nice way to negate that attack, but I still hit for the first damage of the game. And this is what, turn 6 or something like that? I would say that's pretty common for the cube of, there's only very small pieces of chip damage that occur. And generally, maybe once or twice in the entire duel, a player will do more than 2,000 or 3,000 damage in a turn. So, okay, I set Deslakuta back down. Ryan T-sets. Or he sets a monster. That's not great for him because it means I get another +1 with Deslakuta. And this really lets me, I'm up on card advantage a lot. So I normal summon Stronghold Guardian. This is an interesting play. It looks like I'm going into one of the high-level synchro monsters. I mean, I do think that we have included some more high-powered synchros, and generally these are pretty difficult to get into. So I think I'm testing a hypothesis of, can I get into a really strong position? In this case, Mistworm, not that great, right? I'm not getting a +1. I'm just bouncing the things to his hand. I do attack in for 2,500, but I essentially have a 2,500 vanilla on the board. So does it actually have the staying power to live for multiple turns? Well, we'll find out. So Ryan goes ahead and sets some cards back onto the field. And that looks like it's about it. It looks like he's just reestablishing the same board that he had before. I draw Genix Controller. Now, that's a very good draw here. So I can synchro my 2 monsters off and go for the only level 12 synchro, which is Transcendosaurus Glaciosaurus. Now, the reason why this is so important is because I have a normal monster in the graveyard, if this is able to die and then revive itself, it will be unstoppable. So I attack, and it's green Kappa, so Ryan's able to destroy 2 spells or traps. It looks like I negate the green Kappa to keep my other spell or trap. And he revives his Hastor with the Pinpoint Guard. So at this point, I play Smile Action. Smile Action, it's basically a threatening roar because he has no spells. I get to banish 1 spell, which means I basically have 1 attack negate, or I could reuse the Forbidden Chalice on a future turn. So, all right, well, that's not great. So Glaciosaurus attacks into a Hain, and he's gone. So I got rid of my Deslakuta. I invested all those resources into summoning it, and it lived for 1 or 2 turns, and that's it. So right now, card advantage, I still have a pretty full hand of 5 cards in hand, +2 on the field, so 7. Looks like Ryan has 4 on the field. He attacks a Widespread Dud to destroy his Hastor. And let's see, is the attack actually going to go through? It's a clock resonator, which can't be destroyed by battle while in defense mode once per turn. Looks like Ryan has at least 3 or 4 in hand, so we're pretty evenly tied in terms of card advantage. It looks like I don't want to keep Clock Resonator on the field, and I decide to go for a level 7 Synchro. Was that necessary? I guess if he summoned another monster, he would have just killed Clock Resonator, but I did have Smile action. So I go ahead and attack, and Ryan chains Gravity Lash, which swaps Arabellum's attack and defense. That just lets him kill it outright, so now I have 75, and Ryan has 5,000 life points. And I play Swords of Revealing Light. I have a couple of these cards in my deck. I have Smile action, Swords of Revealing Light. They're sort of do-nothing cards, right? They're inherent -1s that just give me a couple turns to stall out, which lets me maintain my card advantage to some degree. So I summon Obnoxious Celtic Guardian. He can't be destroyed by monsters with 1900 or more attack. I can't destroy Staplin while it's in defense mode, so I just attack the other face down. It turns out to be Reeling Karibo. It looks like we're still pretty even on card advantage. I mean, one thing to consider is that Swords isn't really a card, and Smile action is barely a card as well. Technically, if he does destroy Smile action, I can't use that attack negate in a future turn, so just have to be a little considerate of that. He stalls out the Sword, so that's gone now. I have 6 in hand. That's good, right? I have 7, technically 8 cards, and it looks like Ryan has similar. Ryan may have 9 on me, so he's up a little bit, but I am up on life points, so we're just kind of stuck. And I think this sludginess, stuckness is definitely one of the main things that I think makes the cube so interesting, because we're basically refilling our resources for another battle. And then we'll see who winds up netting out the best at the end. So Staplin and Obnoxious Celtic Guard were tied with 1400 attack each. He now bumps Staplin up to 1800, which would be enough to kill Obnoxious Celtic Guard. I decide to negate that attack by discarding that Chalice. So that basically gets rid of Smile action. It's just a vanilla card here. I do top deck Mystical Space Typhoon. That can let me get a +1 by destroying the Staplin and banishing it from the field. And now Obnoxious Celtic Guardian is stronger than Ancient Gear Soldier. So I go ahead and attack. I have 100 more attack points than him. And he plays Windstorm of Ataqua. So now I'm in defense mode. He's in attack mode. He goes ahead and he kills Obnoxious Celtic Guardian. My hand is all monsters. I don't have any real protection here. So I'm in a little bit of a tough position. Watt Lemur can, if he's destroyed, he makes the opponent lose their battle phase. So again, more of those stall cards, but not really anything that's like floating or generating advantage for me at this moment. Whereas Ryan has kind of the opposite. He is Ghost Knight of Jackal. It's a great way to steal the opponent's monsters and bring them onto the field. So Watt Lemur gets destroyed, and then he revives it with Ghost Knight of Jackal, so that's a +2 for him. At the end phase, I play Evenly Matched. This is definitely a downside of Smile action just sitting there on the field, because now he gets 2 cards to keep. But again, this is one of the ways in which I think Evenly Matched is very fair in the cube. Okay, so let's see. I have 6 cards. I play Messenger of Peace. Here's another one of these quote-unquote do-nothing cards. Ryan has 5, so we're pretty close in card advantage still, right? Despite this back and forth, nobody's really kind of perfectly clawed ahead. Wrecker Panda is another pretty good card here, just in its ability to get really strong and to float and revive a monster. So he attacks. I play Waybridge, forcing him to choose between one of his monsters. He keeps Wrecker Panda so that it's able to get under Messenger of Peace. I decide to pay for Messenger of Peace. I think that's generally a sign that I don't really have anything that I can be doing here. He does decide to pay for Wrecker Panda. You pay 500 to increase the attack. So he gained 400 attack, putting him at 1200. So he's actually pretty closely tied. He's close to that 1500. And he's tied with On Meraki, which also has 1200. So we crash. I get to draw a card. Actually, no, we don't crash. Well, I force him to use Reeling Karibo. So this 1200 Wrecker Panda is going to stick around, which is definitely a little bit scary. Like, I drew cards, but he's definitely the one that's applying the pressure in the moment, right? I'm just trying to defend off the pressure until I'm able to get something a little bit more threatening. So he attacks for 1200. I'm now losing at 4100 to 45. I do play Damage Gate. So this is actually pretty cool, right? I get to float on Meraki again to draw an additional card. Like, I'm digging deeper and deeper into my deck, which is a cool way that despite not having any searching at all in the deck, I'm really able to still get into my deck pretty deeply, and I'm not just drawing one card a turn, So, okay, I try to crash on Meraki into Wrecker Panda, and he banishes with that Shield Warrior. Those kinds of graveyard effects are really strong, right? You wouldn't expect that to put in this much work, but the fact that Wrecker Panda can stick around for this many turns because of those graveyard effects is really good. So now I go for Daigusto Emerald, and I decide to shuffle 3 of my cards back into the deck. So it really seems like I'm focusing very heavily on this like floating type effect, because really I think I see that I don't have much defense. I mean, I guess I have some, right? I've played evenly matched, but Ryan has these 3 back rows, whereas I basically only ever exist with 1 back row. So how effective can that actually be? Ryan's had Gravity Lash and some other, Windstorm of Ataqua and other things that have a little bit more impact, I would say, can be used in a more offensive manner as opposed to just strictly stalling out. Now, I'm obviously stuck under Messenger of Peace, and it looks like Ryan here goes for Armored Kappa. That's a good way for him. Again, he has a 1,200 attack monster or 1,400 attack monster on the field, and he crackdowns. So he steals my Emerald, negates its effect. This means that now his Armored Kappa can attack me directly for 1,400. That's putting me at 26. I'm definitely within a strike zone now. It's possible to get hit for about 2,000 or 3,000 damage in a turn, so it's definitely scary, and I'm paying 100 for Messenger every turn. So I summon Wind Up Kitten. I love return to hand effects. I think they're one of the best ways where you can get a +1 by returning an extra deck monster to the extra deck, but bouncing another monster to the hand isn't quite as good. So it's a stronger effect for monsters for players that are losing, because typically the extra deck monsters are stronger. So I just think it's such an awesome mechanic. Anyway, I attack into Crass Clown, and right here I can this is such an important moment. So I attack Crass Clown, and I chain Arm Regeneration to make my Wind Up Kitten gain 700 attack. He then chains Inverse Universe, which puts me at 50 attack points too low to be able to kill Crass Clown once that chain resolves. This now means that on his turn, he's able to sacrifice his monsters and summon Vampire Voivode. This just goes to show the power of the double tribute monsters, right? Voivode is able to special summon 2 monsters from my graveyard to his side of the field, which means that now he could go for a Synchro Summon or an Xyz Summon or any other kind of play like that. Unfortunately, he still is unable to attack. So I go down to 1750. At this point, I'm in a really bad position, and I need to figure out some way to make it back into this game. So what I wind up doing is going for the Armored Kappa that I bounced to try to regain a little bit of advantage and stall out. So I go ahead and I attack Gen X Controller, because that's the card that would let him Synchro Summon and end the game here. Unfortunately, he Spellbinding Circles me. So now he puts his monsters into attack mode. I have 1750 life points left at this point. So this is pretty bad. If he has any way to remove the Armored Kappa, he can attack with the Gen X Controller and the Meraki, and I would lose. He goes ahead and attacks Armored Kappa with Gen X Controller, because that has they have the same attack points. I wind up discarding a card to prevent being destroyed by battle, so that helps me live another turn. I wind up sacrificing for Magio Shalion. So this is a really unique scenario here. Again, since Ryan has that dead Spellbinding Circle on the field, he can no longer declare attacks on me, and that thing's not going to go away. So now I'm in a very safe position where Magio Shalion is able to protect me from these, from getting the rest of my life points taken away. Unfortunately, he has a face down Swarm of Centipedes, which can flip my monster face down. So now that Magio Shalion effect is off, and he's able to attack and destroy the Magio Shalion. And now he's able just to end the game by attacking with his other monsters. So let's just take a look at what my commentary is on that game.
Thank goodness. And I had a safety.
Oh, you had Lightning
just in
Storms.
case.
Oh my god. You had couldn't do me for 14.
Mm-hmm.
When you would Crass Clown in defense mode, you didn't have a weak enough monster to get under Messenger.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, because I had what, 1800, so you would have put me at like 5 or something, so that was a close one.
I was worried because you had a full hand, but I guess it just wasn't very good.
It was just all monsters. Yeah, I was thinking about going for him, but he's weaker than Voivode, so I wouldn't have been able to kill it.
Okay.
And I didn't have a tuner, so I couldn't have like jumped up to something higher.
All right. Pretty cool.
Yeah, I think maybe I had Tyrant Dragon for a while, but I was like, I probably could have summoned it earlier, and maybe that could have got me to the victory. But I think like the other really pivotal move was when you inverse universe on that. I feel like that's when I lost all my momentum.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that was a crucial decision.
I also think that like your Rolling Karibo and your Shield Warrior like really helped you keep field presence, which was really tough for me. So
Okay.
I think that like you playing those on the right monsters was really big. And then basically after this point, I was just completely on the back foot. So I'm really curious to watch this one back, because like I definitely like played weird with evenly matched. Where like I neglected to not normal summon monsters or set monsters because I wanted to evenly match you for more.
Right.
And I think that may have put me too behind, because then I ended the game with all these monsters in my hand, and like maybe I could have been summoning them earlier.